Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whenever you are listening. Welcome to an appropriate amount of soup, where Dom and I, Shannon, discuss novels we're writing, novels we're reading, and dumb ideas about other people's novels. We have some amazing, super fun, super cool things to talk about today. First off, we're looking at our topic. Dom has been grabbing a few different books on writing and learning about writing, improving his craft, moving through, looking at all the classics on writing, Save the Cat. Dom, how are we finding things? Have you been reading and studying?
You mean books like Anne Lamott's Bird by Bird?
Books just like that?
Yeah, no, I haven't read any of them yet.
Cool, moving on. Hey, Dom, what have you actually been up to?
I have been discovering a deep connection to you, Shannon, as I edit my book and discover how heinously frustrating editing is.
It's the worst.
Yeah, I have found it really effective to write a bad novel, to do it quickly. So that's what I did. I had an idea for a novel. I wrote it all out in record time. And now I'm going through and editing and realizing what a pile of stinky doo-doo I have written and how much effort I need to put in to make it less doo-doo-like.
Mm-hmm. And are you finding success in reducing the doo-doo?
Yeah, I do. It's just work. The whole thing is, what is it? Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And I've told a very interesting story, I believe, in this novel, and shown very little of it. So going through literally paragraph by paragraph and going, what am I trying to communicate? How do I communicate it in a way that isn't me just going, John walked down the street and it was raining and that made him sad?
Yeah, so there's a very straightforward way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Brandon Sanderson technique. You invent a character or a creature. In his case, they were called or are called spren, and those respond to every emotion. So when a character is angry, the anger spren appear. When a character is sad, the sadness spren appear. So you don't actually have to explain he felt sad. You said, he went into his room and sadness spren appeared. So that's the workaround.
Do you know what's really scary about that? Is that I've written this Dungeons and Dragons-y fantasy novel, and that there is actually this whole magical mechanic in it. Not the spren, but a whole bunch of the story about the main character is how music responds to him. And it would be incredibly easy to just go, as he was walking down the street, he heard the somber tone as the city played its sad note. And then everyone would know he was sad. Dang it, Shannon!
You've got to cheat.
You've saved me and ruined me at the same time. I spent 2.5 hours today rewriting maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, which is... I said there's a bit of romantasy in it. So this is like the scene where the protagonist meets who will be the woman who will become the love of his life. And so it's kind of important and it's kind of got to set the stage. And I should have just said the music started going, bow, 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 chicka, bow, bow. And then everyone would have known and it would have been fine.
Tones of slap bass filled the air.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So you got another rewrite coming.
Yeah, that's the best tip you've ever given me on writing.
You don't need all those books. You just come to me.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to look quickly at the Stephen King one. What does he say? Oh, lots of slap bass. Dang it. Stephen King agrees with you.
Yeah. Look, if anyone needs some support in writing absolute schlock,
talk to either of us.
I'll support you.
We're both on a journey of digging ourselves out of the pond of schlock.
No, I revel in it.
Oh, you revel in it? You just bathe in it.
I want to stay in the schlock.
I got out of the schlock and then I realized there was more in the schlock for me. And I invented new methods of writing to embrace the schlock.
Yeah. They call me Schlocky Shannon.
Schlocky. Well, so Shannon, what are we doing today? Apart from
who knows anymore?
Bitching and moaning about editing.
Well, I guess we should be talking about someone else's book. That way we can avoid all of our schlock and we can look at something a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
So, today we're going to be looking at Ravenblood by Lukas Maertens. Now, this is the first book in a series, and this one, so it's Ravenblood, Shadows in the Stone. I believe the other titles are titled Ravenblood, but then have a different subtitle. I believe. I'd need to double check that. So, Lukas Maertens writes, grounded, character-driven fantasy with a darker tone, stories where the magic is subtle, the stakes are personal, and the people feel real. Lukas studies the craft of writing and breaks down the stories he loves, using whatever tools he can to sharpen his work. He is drawn to stories that sit in the messier, more human corners of fantasy, where choices matter more than chosen ones. So let's have a look at Chapter 1. And for anyone jumping on for the first time today, what we're going to do is give a brief synopsis of Chapter 1. And then Dom and I are very busy people. We don't have time to read entire novels anymore. So we just make the rest of the story up. And then we're going to have a look at the blurb, see if it gives us any indication if we got anywhere near close. We often appreciate if authors can write to us after the podcast goes live and let us know if we hit any of their story beats. I think we've got everything right.
Offended them. We like to
yes, or if we've offended you, please do let us know. That is part of the process. Okay, so looking at Chapter 1 here, we have our main character, Leonard. He is out in a forest at this point. We don't know what he's doing. What's going on? Let's find out. There's other people nearby. They seem a bit standoffish. They are warming by a campfire. Darnum is there. He gives the impression of like he's a veteran warrior type of person who's seen a number of battles. His armor is all scuffed up and not looking particularly great, so he's likely seen combat. Also the name of a small town out here in West Gippsland near where I live, but anyway. Saran is there as well, another character. She has a sword. She seems anxious. Her name is like the plastic wrap I've noted here. I said, I don't know, there's probably a joke there. We'll deal with that later.
She's very glad.
Hey.
Let's see what I did there.
I do. Do you guys have glad wrap in the States?
They don't. No one knows what you mean.
Okay, well.
But have you ever heard an Australian call it saran wrap, though?
No, but isn't that what it is? Or is
That's
that a brand new
it is what it's called here, yes. But
plastic wrap?
Cling film. That's the one I like.
Yeah, hey, should we just stop talking about books and just talk about cling film for a whole long time?
And all the different words that can be used. In the seminal writing book, Stephen King's On Writing, if you look in the index at the back under saran wrap, you'll find nothing because it's a terrible topic. Let's get back to Raven's Blood.
What about foil?
I'll just check.
All right, moving on. So, Darnum is idly playing with a religious trinket, which when he discusses the terrible sorts that are across the border who use all magic and they're using it willy-nilly, and it should be honoured as a gift from the gods. So we don't like the people across the border. Now we notice that something is moving in the brush past the tree line, giving us a sense of unease and a lack of safety. We find out that Leonard is from the academy. Assumedly, he gives out gold statues. I was writing this late at night, and these jokes are terrible. The three set out to sleep around the campfire. Leonard is on first watch. He's pretty tense about the whole thing. Saran is from the academy too. She's sneaky, like plastic wrap. She sneaks right up on Leonard. They appear friendly. Saran offers to take over the watch. Leonard is about to sleep when the party is attacked. Raiders attack the three while they sleep. Leonard, Darnum, and Klingwrap are all capable fighters, and they fend off a larger number. We find out that Karth has sent the raiders. They have a scent of bad magic about them. The party then make their way to...
Karth is a place, not a person, I think. Oh, Maybe it's a person. Sorry.
It's a proper noun.
Don't you love it when you try to add some clarity and realise that you have no idea what you're talking about? Moving on.
Yeah, thanks for interjecting with nonsense and lies.
Wow.
The party make their way to a low-built structure with watchtowers. Turns out to be like an outpost type of deal. Towers are topped with ballista. Ballista? Ballista.
Ballista.
Dom? Ballista?
I think so.
Yeah, you know these things.
Hmm.
Darnum calls out to the people guarding the place. The place looks makeshift, hastily repaired as if it experiences a lot of conflict. Leonard, Saran, and Darnum reveal themselves as part of the Ravenbloods. This makes the guards suspicious. Darnum requests the Watchmaster. The guards deny him until he reveals an insignia showing that he is a veteran. Despite the reaction they receive, we find out that there is a Ravenblood insignia present in the camp. I've got a quote here from it. Armor hung on hooks, gear was stacked in orderly chaos, and every corner seemed filled with the shadows of 100 routines. Leonard felt the divide, subtle but real. Ravenblood were outsiders here, both above and apart from the regular troops. So we sort of find out that this is, I'm assuming, a Ravenblood camp or Ravenblood directed, but the actual soldiers there don't really appreciate them. Darnum dismisses the other two and he goes to see the Watchmaster in the Watchmaster's tent. There's a note about a Ravenblood pact that's not really explored yet. Leonard and Saran feel as outsiders at the barracks, but acknowledge that they are at least safe, having survived a journey there. So this is where our chapter leaves us. Mr. Dom, where should the story go from here?
Well, clearly it is going to focus on Leonard and Saran as they entertain the rest of the troops with a rap. See what I did there? No, clearly that won't happen. So Darnum, which I didn't know was a town in Gippsland. That's very interesting. Gippsland being a region of Victoria, being the state you live in. Just clarity for my American friends here. As I prevaricate and waste time as I desperately try to think of what happens next. No, okay, so Darnum is talking with the Watchmaster. And the Watchmaster, I think, if I know anything about fantasy novels, which I do, he's described as young, the young officer. And if we know anything about young officers in fantasy novels, they're up themselves. They think they're better than they are. So Darnum goes in, and Darnum is a veteran of the Ravensblood. Now, we don't know quite what that means, but we do know that this officer couldn't care less. He's not impressed. He runs a little watch outpost on the edge of some unknown empire. Is it named?
Would that be Karth?
Nah, Karth are the bad guys. This is the good guys. So we're going to call them Thrak, because that's almost Karth backwards. So he's there. He got the appointment because his dad is a cousin of the general in charge of orange acquisition for the army. Mm-hmm. And he's been sent out to this place to, earn his stripes, so to speak. But he's not putting up with any Ravensblood coming in and telling him that Karth is operating quite closely because they were asleep, right? And they get attacked, and then they just basically get up and quick march, and they're at the watch house. So it can't be that far. Karth is right there, and this office is like, no, clearly not, because that's going to look bad on my reports, and I'm not going to be able to move back to the capital of Thrak and get a job in the orange acquisition department. So, but we don't hear this at first. All we hear is Darnum cracking the absolute nanny and chucking stuff around, kicking doors as he storms out of the room. And he comes in and he's fuming, and Leonard and Saran are sitting there discussing how to sharpen a sword or some, very soldierly discussion like this. Mm-hmm. And he comes in and he kicks the door in and he goes, "You won't believe what Officer Orange Acquisition just said." What did he say?
And Officer Orange Acquisition, he doesn't want to deal with these Ravenbloods. He's a watchmaster. He just wants to build his watches and his clocks in peace and sit in his office. Yeah, he doesn't want any of this nonsense. And so he's basically just told them, "Yes, I get that you've come here with a message to us from the Ravenbloods, who we start to find out a little bit are a secret order working for the king. So the king of all of this land has like a spy network, and the Ravenbloods are an arm of that. And this Officer Orange doesn't want to deal with that. I'm trying to remember his name. That was the slight hesitation there.
Officer Orange Acquisition.
I'm not saying acquisitions every time. It's just Officer Orange.
That's his last name, clearly. So we don't need to worry.
Yeah, of course. All right, so he doesn't want to deal with them, and he sends them on their way. And what we find is, in the actual camp itself, there's all these stirrings from these soldiers. Like, why are they so against these Ravenbloods being here? Why is there such animosity towards them? Even though this is, for all intents and purposes, this is a Ravenblood camp. This is part of the kingdom. So they should be supporting them. And they start to hear little murmurs and little, snippets of conversations. The people from Karth are here in the camp. The raiders that attacked didn't attack from the kingdom of Karth. They were sent out from the camp. So what we're finding is that Karth is starting to infiltrate the kingdom, and they're starting to bring some of these military people along the borders and outskirts into their fold. There's a sense of black magic being used to manipulate this, and there is just no interest in dealing with any of it, because all the Watchmaster wants to do is deal with his clocks. So our characters, Leonard, Saran, Darnum, they decide to flee before the situation can get any worse, before they are found out to know this information. Where do they go, Dom?
Well, there's only one place for Ravenblood to go, and that's the Bloody Rookery, which is where, they were founded, where they train, where they recruit, and that is, of course, in the capital. But the capital is a long way, because we know that they're on the border. And as they travel through farmland and slowly increasing levels of development and not industrialization, but, as it gets more civilized, what we discover is that for some reason, quite possibly the black magic you mentioned earlier, the Ravenblood and the king have fallen out of popularity. So while they were expecting to leave the war-torn regions and enter back into the civilization of Thrak, is that what I called it? Thrak? Yep, Thrak.
Thrak, yep.
They actually discover that they need to hide the fact that they are Ravenblood. And they discover this as they, a couple of days after leaving the watchtower, they arrive at a regional town. Maybe Sale, shall we say, if we're going to stay in Gippsland. And they just go to a pub. They know that there's general disregard for them at the standard, military bases for whatever reason. That was made clear. And so they're like, you know what? Can't be bothered dealing with the negativity. Let's just go stay at the local pub. And they're at the local pub, and things are a little off, but not enough for them to put their finger on. And they go to bed that night. And they don't think to set up a watch, because they're in civilized land, they're in a pub. And then there's a knock at the door. It's
Uh-oh.
the middle of the night. And they open the door, and what do they see?
Before I answer that question, I do just want to reflect on no one wants us around. Life is going rough. We're just going to go to the pub and go to bed. Like, that is a perfect solution. Ah, to hell with it.
You know what's funny is yesterday, that is literally the chapter I wrote for my novel. I was outlining it. I don't know, I was in a weird mood. So as a result, my character was in a weird mood, and he literally just wandered around town day drinking. And then I finished it, and I'm like, well, that was a waste of a day's writing, wasn't it? Yeah. So anyway, yes, but clearly this is on my mind right now.
All right. So we won't have a podcast next fortnight because Dom's going to be off on a bender, apparently.
Yeah.
So enjoy. Have fun.
I
Do
should
right.
be back 2 weeks. 2 weeks,
Yeah, true.
I should be back. Should be.
Hopefully.
No promises.
All right. So the knock on the door, though, we find out is the King's Chancellor. Let's go Chancellor. Let's keep it tropey.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like it.
And the Chancellor's coming to seek help because they've noticed what's going on. We notice that there's this weird energy throughout the kingdom, and we know that the Ravenbloods have returned, and he just first doesn't want to send the king for the king's safety, wants to come and see what's going on with these people here and having the conversation around. So we know you've been out to these outposts.
Yep.
What have you seen? And the Chancellor's trying to suss them out a little bit and find out, are these people under this effect as well, or are they still loyal to the kingdom? And when they have that moment, they find out that no, we are all still Team Ravenblood. We are still trying to do the right thing by our kingdom. And they present this news to the Chancellor that we heard rumours that it was actually Karth infecting the outpost, which just clicks something for the Chancellor. Yeah, all the rumours and everything that we're hearing, that matches up with this. So that must be what it is. Oh no, the king is left in the palace by himself, and this curse, let's call it, this black magic, is affecting the people in there. Is he in danger? So our next sequence is going to be these four, the old wizened Chancellor and our three heroes, rushing to the palace to go and find the king. They get to the palace doors and they are barred entry. What do they do?
Well, as they're standing at the doors, well, it's not the doors. I like that you use the term doors. Clearly, it's a portcullis.
Of course it's a portcullis, but I didn't want to confuse anyone.
Yeah, okay.
Like
so
me.
it's the big castle, big towers, like, very, very gothic, impractical for a siege, practical if all you're trying to do is, intimidate and overawe your people. Nonetheless, very easy to block out 3 soldiers and a Chancellor. And at this moment, old Leonard, he sniffs. And he goes, oh my goodness, it smells like Karth magic. And the Chancellor's like, what the heck? You can smell magic. And this is an ability that the Ravensblood have as a result of their training and the pact that has been briefly mentioned. So we get a little bit of exposition here. Well, we find out that the Ravensblood, by the work they do in the bloody rookery, part of that is that they actually make a pact with, clearly a raven, but not just any raven, a very special raven. A very special raven called Ian. And
Is it magical?
It is a magical raven called Ian, who moves sideways always.
Always sideways.
Yeah, in a crab-like fashion. And and so Magical Ian the Raven is like a totem. long dead spirit of the founder of this empire, who continues to be a part of the, creating the Ravenblood to defend the king, who is his heir. And this is just this bit of exposition that we understand, that the purpose of the Ravenblood is purely to defend the king. Anything else, all the other military stuff. And so the whole reason that they were in the boondocks, the borderlands, was because because the commander of the Raven's Blood knew that there was a conspiracy coming out of Karth. Exposition, they're back at the gate. And this is when the gate opens, the portcullis raises, the doors behind it open, and there is an armed group of soldiers, swords drawn, looking menacing. And this is when Leonard goes, "Oh, crap. Run." And they take off through the city. Where do they run to?
Well, they don't all get away. That's the thing. So Leonard, Dunham, and the Chancellor. Hey?
I hate this.
Oh no, it's bad times, dark days, sadness all around. The sadness spren rise from the ground.
The city plays a somber tone.
It doesn't play a somber tone. It just plays a womp womp womp.
Yes. It's quickly followed by the Benny Hill running music as they go on a chase through town.
Banjos delicately sound in the night. So dumb. Okay. No, so the three are captured, and Saran, because we know from the start that she's our stealthy character. So she manages to slip away.
Oh, that's not what I was expecting at all. This is a great twist.
And this is how we're going to have the moment where all of our characters are united, because they're going to be taken to the dungeons. Not Saran, obviously, the others. And that's where the king is being held. So while the Chancellor was out, the king has been taken. And we are going to find out that. And now, remember before when we couldn't work out from our notes, not from the writing, this is just because I'm bad at note-taking, whether Karth was a person or a kingdom. That's because it's both. Right? So Karth, well, it's not that exciting. Karth is just the name of the big bad, and he's named his kingdom after him because he's a pretentious git. And so we find out that the king has been captured. He hasn't been killed because he's going to be taken to Karth, in Karth, and now everyone else, the Ravenbloods, are going to go as well, because that's seen as a bit of a treasure to be taken. And the reason that he is going to do that, let's stall for time a little bit while I think about it. It's going to be something magic-y, right? Like there's some sort of magic that only you can get from king blood or king spit, king hair.
That's what they think, but there's more to it that we'll discover in a later chapter. But just put a pin in it. I got an idea.
Well, I'll quickly give it back to you. So we're going to have a moment where Saran is going to use her stealth to sneak into the palace, and she's going to unlock the doors of the jail cell using magical keys that she has. She has a magic key. So, note that as well. That's going to come in later. And then they are outside of the jail cell in the dungeons, but they haven't left the dungeon yet. What's going to happen next, Dom?
So they're chatting, the three of them and the king, four of them and the king. The Chancellor's still with them. They keep collecting old people who are way past their fighting prime.
Oh, no, the king's only 15. Yeah, I just made that.
They keep recruiting people who are way before their fighting prime, and they're like, "What do we do? Where do we go?" And the king, who obviously pretty young, but he's been raised to know that the Raven's blood exists to protect him. So he goes, "Clearly, we need to get to the bloody rookery. He says it like an Australian. He's like, mate, we've got to get to the bloody rookery. And
was that an Australian accent? You're from
Blood-
Australia. You should be able to do one.
I just like, the way Australians say bloody just to mean, I don't know, it's almost punctuation, isn't it? Do you want to go to the pub? Go down to the bloody pub, mate. Yeah, all right, mate. Anyway.
Does it mean good?
It just means...
Doesn't have to, does it?
It means like
It's filler.
hyper real.
Hyper
That's
real.
how, yeah, it's like, let's go to the pub or let's go to the bloody pub. And it's like, the pub is the place we need to go.
Yeah, I guess Australians are known for their surrealism.
Yeah.
And their hyper-realism.
Well, you should live in America for a while and discover just how surreal most Americans think Australia is.
They're not wrong.
As a sidebar, so I've been making a list of questions I get asked as an Australian living in America. Is this true? Is this real? There's always the, have you ever fought a kangaroo?
Yes.
How big are the spiders?
Very large.
Confirmation that hoop snakes and drop bears are real. Which
100%.
Obviously they are. But the one that I've just has really popped up, and I'd love to find the source of it, is it illegal to wear shoes?
It is.
Yeah. But how do they know?
Is it legal to wear shoes in America?
It's actually illegal not to wear shoes in a lot of places. In fact, most places.
What if you have like a horseshoe type, like metal in the shape of your foot, and you drive that into your foot with nails? Is that acceptable?
I would have to check, and we'll do so tomorrow. I will purchase some nails and some horseshoes, and I shall go to the supermarket in my shoes.
Clip-clop around the police station and see if anyone comes to get
See
you.
if anyone says anything. Anyway, back to the story.
Sorry, I'm distracted.
Because we're going to the bloody rookery.
It's not an Australian accent.
It is. It's what I like to think of my Ringwood accent, because, I grew up in the affluent inner east, and so I like to make fun of the less affluent outer east.
Sure.
Anyway, we're going to the bloody rookery, mate, and Saran Wrap says we can't. I went there. Everyone's dead. And...
Oh, no.
But there, and that's when Darham, is that his name? Darnham?
Dazza.
Dazza. Bloody Dazza.
Bloody Dazza.
He goes, oh, we need to go and check it out. We need to go and see what they're doing. Why have they killed everyone? And they go there, and as they get there, Lenny smells that magic again. The most putrid, toxic, strongest crack? What's the place called? Karth magic that he's ever smelled. And he's like, Karth magic always smells like it's rotting. This smells like it's dying and rotting at the same time.
Gross.
Why does he say that?
Because Karth is there. Karth himself.
Oh, no.
Guards, and who's led them there? Why are they there? Darnham.
Bloody hell, mate.
Darnham is the one that has brought them to Karth.
Bloody
why couldn't Lenny's magic sniffer nose pick Darnham? Do you remember in chapter 1 that Darnham carries a religious trinket with him everywhere he goes?
Uh-huh.
It hides the smell.
I hate that.
So they can't pick that it was Darnham. All along, mean old Mr. Darnham has been laying all of these little moments. He knew the watchmaker was not going to accept them. He knew that. He just wanted to get a new watch. The only reason they went there in the first place. So now Karth has the king, Lenny, Saran, and this is where I'm hoping for both of us, Dom, that when I was talking about King Spit and all these things,
Yep.
that your idea works for this situation right now.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Here's what they discover. They need... They do want to take the king. They do want to take the Raven's blood back to Karth. But that's not actually what they want. What they really want is the Raven. The eternal... Yeah, the eternal spirit of the Empire. And they want to get their hands on it, on Magic Ian, and take him back. And then they believe that by sacrificing him, Karth can ascend to mega evil godhood. But the reason they're still there is they got to the bloody keep. What's it called? The bloody rookery.
Mate.
The bloody rookery, mate. And
Struth.
Crikey. And they were unable to capture the Magic Ian. He flew away. And
he's wily.
So now their hope, and now that Bloody Dazza has brought everyone to the bloody rookery, they're like, we are going to threaten the king, and if you don't do what we say, they're saying this to Ian, we're going to kill the king, and that will end your line. And with the end of the line means you failed, you're a terrible eternal spirit, you're the worst Magic Ian that has been mentioned on this podcast, and as a result, you failed. So what does Magic Ian say to this?
Is Magic Ian here? He is, isn't he?
Sort of, if you want him to be.
Magic Ian is always with us in our hearts.
Yeah, everywhere, all the time.
He holds us up in his wing-like, claw-like limb. What are they going to do? I think to progress a little bit, we need to create some separation. So I'm not going to have Ian be present here. I'm going to have it be that Darnam is going to take the king and the chancellor and Karth, obviously, and all the soldiers, and they're all going to head back to Karth. And then, because only a Ravenblood can contact Ian, so they send Lenny and Saran to go and get Ian and bring Ian to save the king. With that whole threat of, you got 5 days to bring him to Karth, or you don't have a king anymore. Knowing that the pact that they have is that the Ravenbloods must protect the king at all cost, and what we find out now is with that pact, if they fail to do so, it severs the tie between them and Ian. So they're no longer a Ravenblood. So they have to get Ian. There is no other option. So we're going to head off on a separate quest, and as is stylistic of this show, that journey is going to be 83 chapters. And that's just Tolkien-esque walking over hills. Not a whole lot's going to happen. They will meet some sort of weird eternal creature that sings songs for no reason at all. That doesn't really drive the plot forward. And then they will come to see Ian. They're going to have a chat with him. And it's going to be, hey, mate, how we going? And Ian's going to be, oh, yeah, bloody, like, what's going on then, eh, mate?
So were you saying my Australian accent was no good, but yours is good?
It's truth.
Oh, crikey, mate. Bloody Shannon. All right, moving on.
I got a little bit of a head cold, all right? I'm blaming that. All right.
We're bloody Ian, mate. We're on the bloody mountain talking to bloody Ian. Man. Yep.
And he comes with a couple Crocs and a few Sheilas, and they
on a tin.
Yeah. So Ian's like, yeah, yeah.
The most Australian thing you could possibly say. Oh yeah, yeah.
You know the best part of that. The first was not intentional.
100%.
I realised what I'd done and threw in the reverse.
No, yeah. Oh,
I'm going to play this off like I meant to do it. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, we both are, and it's beautiful.
What?
So what's bloody Ian doing on the bloody top of the mountain with bloody Lenny and Sarah?
Look, Ian just accepts, we got to go. We got to go get this king. So the three of us, let's just...
Real hard to convince, isn't he?
He's pretty laid back, all things considered.
Clearly.
He doesn't care. But his whole thing is, it's a deity, basically, formed around the protection of the monarch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep. Is going to absolutely hate down the track when Cromwell and his lot come in. Ian does not appreciate them, but for the time being, let's go monarchs. So it's just going to be straight heading across to Karth.
Another 83 chapters?
Yeah, well, they got to walk back.
Well, it's actually 166 chapters, because as they walk back, they also reflect on what happened last time they walked past this point. They walked along the hill, and as they crested it, they saw the tree they had seen on the way here. "Struth," said Lenny. "That's the tree we saw on the way here." That's just a little excerpt, if you're wondering.
Yeah, look, it's one chapter for every 2 kilometers. That's basically the math. We need the detail.
Yep, very important.
Yeah. Yep. And the issue that we're going to find is as soon as they get to the border, or what sort of the near border, when Karth's influence is coming across, Ian's magic and the Karthian magic collide and create an issue. What's the issue, Dom?
Explosive diarrhea.
Fantastic. All right. So good night, everyone. Thank you for listening. Please, this was the last episode of Inappropriate.
For many reasons, it's been brought to our attention that we should probably stop. No, the problem is, and here is the thing that Karth the country didn't realise, which is that he thought that if they could get the physical embodiment of the spirit of the kings of the eternal kingdom into Karth, sacrifice him, no worries. The problem is the very fabric of Karth magic is anathema to the magic of this other country, Thrak. And so as they're trying to bring Ian in, it's actually just disrupting everything. Because unlike Thrak, Karth is it's a bit of a control freak.
Yeah.
And so almost every aspect of Karthian society is actually controlled by his magic. Part of the reason he wanted to sacrifice Ian is that he just needs more juice. He needs more juice to run the kingdom. He doesn't even really feel the need to conquer the kingdom. He just wants to, tap into their power grid. But what happens is as they move in, it basically creates this wave where everyone who was forced to conform to old Thrakpants's desires is suddenly free. And they're all about Magic Ian and Lenny and Sarah. And it's like a... Saran, sorry. And so as they move, it sort of creates this really interesting, like a peasant's revolt. So they're bringing an entire little army of incredibly poorly armed, but very angry people with them.
Does anyone do the Blackadder joke at that point?
Which one?
The peasants are revolting. I know, sir.
I know, sir. Yeah. And coincidentally, in another Blackadder-esque thing, they meet a man called Darling. So there's just a lot of yes, darling, no, darling jokes. It's very clever and funny.
It is, which is weird for like the climax of a novel to just introduce a joke character. But they do it. It happens.
They do, yeah. And it adds a bit of levity to what is otherwise a very dark thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we find during this revolt is it's a perfect time for sneaky Saran. And she brings Lenny along with her to sniff out any dark magics along the way.
Teaches him a couple of tricks.
They're going to go through into Karth. Ian can't come in because of the magic collision that's happening. So he leaves them. They go in without him. And under the cover of peasantry revolting, they're able to sneak into the Carthian base, grab the king. They don't get the Chancellor anymore just because he's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah, just because I don't want to have to deal with him.
Yep.
So he died. And then they escape.
And
then
the
they
city goes womp womp.
Womp womp. And tones of defeat play throughout the city. Defeat spren appear from the sky. And yeah, so that whole sequence, that big climax, that's 2 paragraphs. Just sneak in, grab the king, get out. She'll be right.
Done.
And
the
then,
best paced novel ever written.
And as soon as they escape, they head off. So the king and our 2 heroes escape with Magic Ian, and they go into hiding. While this is happening, the magic of Karth retakes control. And so we find Karth, the person, is able to reclaim his city and his empire. And now there is no king in Thrak. So Karth is able to extend his reach out to that kingdom and claim dominion. And our heroes and the king and Ian are in hiding, ready to go for the sequel.
I love it. They're actually, it's quite incongruous because, being a fantasy novel, this is obviously a dark, mountainous, craggy kind of country.
Always.
Lots of snow, lots of cold, lots of grumpy Viking-ish looking people. And where can they go to get away from this? Basically, the fantasy version.
Beach.
Yep, exactly. The fantasy version of Barbados. So...
was that where you were going?
That was totally where I was heading. Because, and you know this because they listen to the city playing steel drums. And that's how the book 1 ends. They're very sad, clearly. It's playing a very somber tune on the steel drums as they sit on the beach going, all hope is lost. What are we going to do? A round of pina coladas, thanks.
Under the sorrowful wail of the marimba.
Oh, man. Does anyone listen to this ridiculous thing we do?
Why would they?
I don't know. And this is, hey, if you do listen, let us know because it's not going to affect whether we do it or not because we genuinely enjoy this. And I feel that if we didn't at least pretend to have an audience, we might feel like sad, lonely little men with no brightness in our life. But by pretending to have an audience, I feel okay about myself.
Yeah, well, I track the data and look at the views and the listening hours, and it's good to know that we have wasted days of people's lives.
No, that actually brings me great joy. Someone today, I've got a friend who's he's just finishing a novel, and I'm like, we'll put you on the podcast when we finish. He goes, does anyone listen? And I went, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I hope so. And so thank you to you who listen. You are literally my hope incarnate.
We have a small but dedicated listenership. Oh, and I should say, from one of our small but dedicated listenership numbers, the lovely Jeanette sent through. So she got some books and things sent to her just to thank you for listening, and you'll see her pop up in our comments all the time. She's great. And then she sent me back a leather-bound folder thing, like a handmade with parts to here's your section to put your plot and your characters,
What the
and
heck?
some notebooks and some bookmarks, and you got nothing, Dom. So I just wanted to
Jeanette?
take a moment to gloat.
And actually, it's funny because I was just looking through our emails with amountofsoup@gmail.com. And I noticed that if I write an email, it's from Shannon and Dom at Amount of Soup. And if you write an email, it's from Shannon. So, yeah, no wonder you get all the good swag.
Well, maybe you need to do a bit more of the administration and answer the emails, because it feels like someone's picking up a bit more weight than the other.
Yeah, anyway, so...
No, we can have this out here.
All right, I'll check the emails. Gee.
Just read the blurb. You can at least do that for me.
Read the blurb. Okay. On the back of the book it says, 3 soldiers, 1 routine mission, a kingdom built on a lie that's starting to crack. Is that crack? The bloody rookery? We'll find out. Leonard has trained his whole life to earn his place in the Ravenblood Pact, the only family an orphan boy has ever known. Beside him is Saran Wrap, steady and fierce, clear, fighting to protect what she's made of herself. Yeah, exactly. What's she made of herself? Saran Wrap. Watching over them both is Darum, a scarred veteran who came back from the Carthian War carrying wounds he'd never named, which is clearly he's possessed. So right now, as always, 100%.
Nailed it.
When a border patrol turns up bone-laced raiders... What does that
was
mean?
implied. We implied
But I mean,
that.
aren't we all bone-laced? Like, we have a skeleton inside us? I don't know.
Laced implies outside, doesn't it?
Does it? No, like if someone is... I don't know.
Your laces tie you up.
Yeah, but are they on the outside or the inside of the shoe? They're kind of... They're the terminus. They're the border. Anyway...
Terminus bones.
Turns up bone-laced raiders and an ancient relic that should not exist. The trio pulls a thread nobody wanted pulled. I think it's going
Shoelaces.
off. Okay, cool. What they drag into the light reaches back centuries. Oh my goodness, it's Ian.
There he is.
Oh my goodness. Into the founding of their kingdom, the doctrine of its mages, and the hidden rot already moving through the pact itself. I just think we've nailed it again, yeah. Courage, in the end, is not forged by prophecy or destiny. It is forged by people who fight beside you and the choices you make when they cannot. Ravenblood, Shadows in the Stone, is the first book of a duology and delivers a complete character-driven arc. I'm going to give us a B+.
That's a funny way to say A+, but yeah, apart from that.
Sorry.
I agree. I will say with this one, if you haven't got the book, grab it. I think it's only $1 up for the ebook. Yeah. So well worth it, particularly at that sort of price range. Grab a copy, have a look. Links will be up. Soup ratings for this one, because we're sort of going like dark. The word craggy gets thrown around a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to mushroom. That sort of...
Can I ask?
Was that where you were going?
Yeah, that's what I got to ask. Are we talking like a kind of a tom yum with a lot of mushrooms, a clear soup, Asian leaning, or like a cream of mushroom?
Thinking like a cream of mushroom.
Shut up. That's literally exactly what I was going for.
Yeah, sort of that dark...
It's dark. It's got that
tones.
sort of... Well, it's the darkness and the snow, because there's got to be a lot of snow in this. What happens if you mix dark with something light, grey? What colour is mushroom soup? Grey.
Yeah. You can see the mushroom spren coming up from the
and the city sun fungus. I think what I really liked about this book is it was reminiscent of David Gemmell, of that sort of classic, I don't want to say it's tropey, but it feels that really familiar, I think, like you mentioned when we were talking off microphone, like Dragonlance. It's really, what's the
classic
word?
fantasy.
Classic fantasy, easy to digest, much like mushroom soup.
Yeah, which is always a really good thing in that first chapter. Obviously, we don't know what happens after that, and that's
we do.
where
We
you can
just
go
we
sort
just
of.
we just said what happens.
Oh yeah, well, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
of course.
we and you, listener, know exactly what happens.
Mm-hmm. So, but let's look at a different work, something like a Game of Thrones or
Okay.
Song of Ice and Fire, which is renowned for subverting tropes.
Yeah.
If you look at the early chapters of it, it sets up a classic fantasy story.
Totally.
And then goes off on its own thing.
Yeah.
Which is what, we might see in Ravenblood. I don't know. Or it might just stick by the classic route, which is lots of fun too.
Which is also a lot of fun, yeah.
I got nothing left to say. Do you have anything left to say, Dom?
Oh, just a bloody love you, mate.
Strength.
And crikeys! And yeah, another fun episode. Thank you for tuning in. As always, feel free to contact us on Facebook, Instagram, email. Do we have any other socials?
We've technically got Twitter or X or whatever. I don't check it. So make sure you comment and say stuff to us there, so that in 10 years from now I go, oh yeah, crap, better check that.
Yep.
Direct all traffic there.
And that's where Stephen King has been contacting us, going, oh, thanks very much for shouting out my book. It really increased sales, and I'd love to be on your show, but we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Never know.
On that, love you all. See you next time.
Hooroo.
Show about books and sing about books. Everyone's looking at the books, reading the books with the eyeball books. Everything's books and they're eating the book. Reading the books. Reading.